This podcast is intended for educational purposes only. It is not to be construed as an offer, solicitation, recommendation, or endorsement of any particular security, product, or service. For more information, visit AssetBuilder.com. From the AssetBuilder headquarters in Dallas, Texas, welcome to the Keep It Simple podcast, a show that discusses simple techniques and philosophies to help de-stressify investors around the world. I'm your host, Joey Badinger, and welcome to the Keep It Simple podcast. Welcome back, everyone, to the Keep It Simple podcast. I'm your host, Joey Badinger, based out of the AssetBuilder headquarters here in Plano, Texas. Today, we're going to be going over a topic that I think most people will have a idea of or have heard about and maybe don't know super in depth what this word means. But we're going to be going over three types of annuities that are out there that may be available to you to use. Now, annuities are pretty popular in market turmoil. That's because they offer what a lot of the market can't offer, which is guarantees. So we're going to be going over a fixed annuity, a variable annuity, and an index annuity. Now, let's talk about this. An annuity is just a financial product offered by insurance companies where you either give them a lump sum or a series of payments, and in return, they give you a series of repayments, essentially, or income, usually in a guaranteed form, right, of monthly income. A lot of retirees use this because they love the idea of still having a quote-unquote paycheck. That's what it feels like. A lot of people don't like the idea of when they stop working, they don't get that bi-monthly or monthly paycheck anymore, and this is what an annuity can offer, right, is that guaranteed income, that guaranteed source of money. So we're going to be the first one we're going to be looking at is a fixed annuity. Essentially what this is, there's two phases, right? There's an accumulation phase and then there's a payout phase. In phase one, the accumulation phase, what happens is, well, you accumulate money, right? Your account grows. And for a fixed annuity, that's what it is. It is a fixed rate of growth, right? And that is worked out with you and the insurance company contract that you have, right? Or the annuity contract that you have with your insurance company. That can be either 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever may have you. But it grows, your account grows on an annualized basis at 3%, 4%, 5%. Now, that's beneficial because there's compound interest involved with that. The account grows tax deferred. And when you do take money out in phase two, which is the payout phase, that money that you take out, you are only taxed your income level on the growth, not the principal portion. So that's really nice. So that second phase, like I just said, is the payout phase. So once you say, I'm going to annuitize this contract, they say, great, here is what we can offer you on a monthly basis as far as income goes for the rest of your life. Here you go. This is what it is. So that might be $1,200, $2,000. What depends on the account size when you annuitize the contract. Yeah, that's a quick and dirty way to explain a fixed annuity. Some things to be careful of. You usually can't take distributions from a fixed annuity until 59 and a half. Otherwise, you might have to pay a 10% penalty on top of the income that you're going to have to, or the income tax you're going to have to pay on the growth. So just be careful with that. It's very similar to, right, like an IRA. You can't take money out of an IRA before 59 and a half without paying a penalty. Also realize the liquidity risks involved with a fixed annuity, right? Once you annuitize that, it's really hard to access your money or all of your money or more than what the income rate that they give you, right? So just be careful with that, be aware of that, and then also be aware of inflation risks, right? Let's say you have a 4% guaranteed or 4% fixed income annuity, right? That's great, right? You're getting 4% guaranteed growth. But let's say inflation is between 2.5 and 3% a year. Well, you're really only going to get then 1.5 to 1% actual real growth in that account. So just be aware of how inflation can eat away at your return when using a fixed annuity. Now, let's move on to the second type, which is the variable annuity. Now, a variable annuity gets a little bit more complicated. Fixed is, like I said, pretty straightforward. But a variable annuity, you give the company a lump sum or a series of payments, the insurance company, and you can invest this money into sub-accounts that are invested in the stock market. Now, the benefit of that is that there might be, or probably will be, let's assume, a higher growth rate than what you would have in a fixed rate annuity. So that is a good side. That is an upside to a variable annuity. And that is in the accumulation phase, right? That's what happens is your account grows based on how the sub account performs. It grows tax deferred, right? And so that way you don't, again, you're not paying taxes on these capital gains by any means. But when you invest or when you do take out, right, when you transfer to phase 2, right, which is the payout phase, you say, I'm going to annuitize this contracts. The account's no longer going to be growing anymore. And you trade it for a source of income, a guaranteed amount of income every month, every year. And that's when you start to take those withdrawals. So what are the benefits of that? Again, higher growth rates, guaranteed income for life once you annuitize the contract. That is great. Some things to be careful about with variable annuity is understand the various riders, right? There is a guaranteed lifetime income rider, which guarantees you you can withdraw a set amount each year for life, even if the account balance goes to 0. So that's nice. But again, that's probably an added fee. There is a death benefit rider. So these are important to understand for your estate purposes. A death benefit rider ensures your beneficiaries receive at least the amount you invested or the highest account value on record, even if the market declines. So just understand what that means. Talk to the insurance agent that is you're working with to buy this annuity to see if you have a death benefit rider, if that's available to you, if that's something that makes sense for you, and also understand the cost. A lot of these contracts can have pretty high cost. Total annual cost can be somewhere between 2 to 3%, which is pretty high, to be honest. That's pretty high. They do offer, again, a guarantee, but at the same time, realize what you're paying for that guarantee. So really the pros, again, are the growth potential because you have sub-accounts that are invested in the actual market, tax-deferred compound interest growth, optional guaranteed lifetime income, there's death benefits for your heirs. Again, now the cons, pretty high fees, pretty high complexity. Earnings are taxed. Earnings, not the principal, but earnings are taxed at ordinary income levels. And then also there's, again, like a fixed annuity, there's less liquidity with this. You can't access all your money if you wanted to. So just make sure you understand that. Both the fixed and variable annuities are something to consider. I would recommend them outside of an IRA or a Roth IRA. I've seen accounts that use Roth money or IRA money to buy an annuity, which kind of defeats the purpose of an annuity for a little bit because, right, it's tax deferred growth. So you could, instead of a brokerage, you might use an annuity. Now, again, the purpose of these is to have that source of income coming in every month. It's not necessarily recommended for everyone because sometimes you might have enough money that you don't really need that guaranteed source of income. So yeah, those are the two benefits or the two types that we've gone over so far. The next one, and the final one, is going to be an indexed annuity. So now an indexed annuity is, right, just like the name suggests, it is tied to an index, whether that is the S&P 500, the Dow, Russell 1000, whatever may have you, right? It's different companies will use different indexes to match. But essentially, right, phase 1, the accumulation phase, you will give the insurance company a lump sum or a series of payments. And the growth of that account will be tied to the growth of the index that it's attached to. Now, the benefit of this is that you might have great growth. And the other benefit is that even if the index drops in a year, right, not every year does the S&P 500 or the Dow go up. Even if it drops, your principal will not be hurt, right? Again, your principal, not the earnings, but your principal will not be touched. So that is nice to know. Now, it does sound like, well, there's all upside, no downside. Well, here's the downside aspect of it. A lot of times when you have a index annuity, there is a cap rate, right, which is a maximum gain you can earn in a period. Sometimes that can be 7, 8, 9%, whatever may have you. Again, depends on the contract you're going through with the insurance company. You can have a participation rate where, let's say you're tied to the S&P 500. The S&P 500 goes up 10%. Sounds awesome, but your participation rate is 60%. So you only get a 6% increase. So be aware of how that growth or be aware of what is happening in the accumulation phase. Make sure you ask these questions. Hey, what is my participation rate? What is my cap rate? Things of that nature is good to understand, right? Good to ask questions to the insurance agent that is working with you. Like I said, there is a downside protection. If the index loses value, you earn 0%, but you don't lose any of your principal. I'm not saying earnings, principal, or previously credited interest. So just be aware of that. That is a good thing. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds nice, to be honest. There are income options with this. It's tax deferred growth, just like the other three options. Your withdrawals are taxed at ordinary income. Again, don't take money out before 59.5. Otherwise, there's a 10% IRS penalty, and on top of the income tax that you're gonna be paying on the earnings. So just be careful of that. There are surrender period and charges associated with these, usually 5 to 10 years. Penalties apply if you withdraw more than the allowed amount, usually 10% during this time. So if you draw 12%, right, there is a surrender charge or surrender fee that you have to pay to do so. So what are the pros? There's really no market losses on your principal. There is upside potential, tax deferred growth, optional lifetime income riders. Again, kind of like I talked about with variable annuities, right? Those income riders where once you annuitize, once you go into phase 2 of the annuity contract, right, you can have an income rider where it'll pay out a certain level of income every year, even if the account goes to 0. So again, that's for an added fee, but that is something that you can add to these contracts. And also these indexed annuities include some type of death benefit. Make sure that you understand what that is. Make sure you understand if there's an additional cost for a death rider and how it might apply to your estate. Cons, there's limited upside. Like I said, there's a participation rate or a cap rate. So make sure you understand that. It can get pretty complex, y'all. Like I said, the house usually wins on these things. Insurance companies aren't dumb. They have very smart people working behind their desks. They have great actuaries that do all the number crunching and have models that can formulate this stuff out and understand how they can win in the long run. So they can get pretty complex. And there can be long surrender periods where you, again, can't withdraw more than 10% of your money. So there is a liquidity risk there. Also understand how inflation might eat away at your return. I know inflation eats away at everyone's return, but specifically when you have a limited growth, you really need to understand how much inflation can eat away at your actual return there. So yeah, those are the 3 types of annuities. A lot of people, again, I'm not saying, I did comment on a few things of how they are not the best. But annuities do have their role. They do have their place, and they do perform a good function sometimes, for sure. I just want to make sure that everyone understands what they're paying for and what they're getting. They do offer usually a good guaranteed source of income, which can be really nice, which can be a breath of fresh air for people and can help people sleep at night, right? And as an advisor, that's something that I really want to strive for, is to make sure that an advisor that's in a fiduciary, by the way, that I have your best interest at heart. I want to make sure that you can sleep at night. AssetBuilder, all of our advisors want to make sure that you can sleep at night and sleep easy. So in that case, if being all in the market gives you a lot of stress, let's look at your risk tolerance and maybe change your portfolio, or maybe we add an annuity so that we can have that guaranteed source of income. So yeah, that's all we have for you today. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to podcast@assetbuilder.com, or you can leave a comment on the episode. But thanks so much for tuning in today, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one. Bye. If you have any questions for Adam, Janet, or Joey concerning this topic or anything else, send us an email at podcast@assetbuilder.com or visit us at our home on the web, assetbuilder.com, where you can set up time to meet with an advisor.